Elder meeting to order. Odin and I got some very nice didgeridoos here, learning how to play them. We have some tribals and things in the games that we host, so picking up some of the neat instruments like that will add a great deal of ambience.
And it's always fun to do it out in the woods and see if anybody starts looking for you.
Yeah, it'll really freak people out. Okay, so we have Elder Chat session here, a little tavern talk. My name is Artena, this is Odin. And we're going to go through some of the basic things that Elders should do, hosting games, and while in a game, going through some of the common things that we see Elders making mistakes about. And then we'll just open it up to everybody else and do a question and answer session. This is being recorded, so those of you who are participating in this chat session this evening, please be sure to watch your language and that sort of thing. And don't turn your portal box on unless you have proper attire, as we are trying to do the studio thing. First off, some of the things that we want to really drive home is, especially if you just started a colony, is do some practice sessions, do some battle practice. Get your social media pages set up. I didn't put it in the Getting Started guide for my health. It's a really good idea to use those, and it's one of the best ways that search engines can find you. And that's why we try to say, tell us the name of the colony and where you are, so that the search engines can say, oh, LARP in blah will be this. So those are things you gotta look at. Even if you don't have YouTube, if you don't use YouTube, make the YouTube channel, reserve it, and you can start posting some of the videos. You don't have to have super high quality stuff. Basically, what we're really trying to drive home is you're doing it, you're out there, you're having fun. Those are some of the things you want to show. So that gets other people excited. And, even if you're a new group and you got, let's say, 2 or 3 or 5 people, if you got pictures and videos, just state it. We're a brand new group looking for more people, doing it the right way, having a good time doing it, and you'll still be able to get people to come in. Preparing for the type of event. We see a lot of times the Elders will try to do like an outpost or a realm game like right away. And that's really hard to do. With if you got like 2 Elders trying to run a full day game, and let's say you have 5 people, you have a shortage of people, shortage of Elders, it's going to be tough. Don't take off too much at one time. Really do those crafting sessions and battle practices and lore writing sessions and that sort of thing. Take the rule book and just go through it, chapter every time you need or something, and take it slow, but keep moving. We have I just recently cleaned up the scrolls. If a colony doesn't post anything or isn't active, we take it out of the active scrolls and put it in the inactive colonies, because there's just no reason for it to take up space if it's not going to be used. So, that's another problem we've seen, is that people buy into the colony and they do the stuff and we set everything up, and then they don't do anything. So, I guess if you're going to start a colony, make sure that you're active and you want to do this, and utilize all the Elders and Overlords to your advantage, as you set things up. And we do have an increasing amount of how-to guides that are coming out and continually coming out. And as you become an Elder, you'll see the Elder Scrolls have a ton of safety information and commonly asked questions and those types of things to help you out. What are some things that happened? Our current realm games are kind of changing in the Inland Waters colony. We're getting a decent amount of people now. We're doing actual 3-day events, which is new for us. You know, we've always done just battlegrounds or outpost games.
A lot of fun.
It's
Way different.
It's very different.
And I think it's Ryan's fault or our tenant's fault here, but every time we go there, it has to rain.
It does. It does. Every time we've done a game at the Woodlands of Esker, it rains for at least half the time, whether it's all night or part of the day or whatever the case may be. So those are things you got to plan for. You got an easy up. I got an easy up into that big dome structure, and we're trying to. It's really kind of strange how it's progressing. We got a lot of good props, but they're almost, in my opinion, not good anymore because now we're creating a lot of the props. We're making the standards and, you know, the tents that we're buying and such. Now what used to feel like the most immersive part of the game is starting to be the most detrimental part of the game. It's very interesting to see how this is switching around. So a lot of us are trying to do like the octagon tents. Sephirus was posting about the traditional teepee tent, wiki up stuff, the A-frame. I'm going to be making a Nordic A-frame. I'm trying to do like part of it as a living quarters and part of it as a vendor tent where I can sweep up one side and do it that way. So we'll see. The regional events, I threw in the championship belt. I mean, technically, we have enough colonies. We have an actual region, so I went and did something pretty crazy and made the actual event where you could, be the world champion of LarpCraft. So you work as a group, but there is only one winner. And we may change that as the group decides, because we'll do the final say on who gets that, because that's a huge prize. And but I think it's just going to be a all-out battle. Last person standing is the world champion. And then we'll have other trophies for other things, for like team matches and that kind of thing. But that kind of threw a whole different dynamic when you started putting in world champions, and the trophies are a big issue. I mean, they're a lot of fun. A lot of folks, a lot of colonies will give things away. And, probably every event we go to, somebody's giving away, Kalamazoo will donate something, Live Action Products will donate something, Epic Armory or Strongblade or, somebody will donate a little something. Typically, you don't see too much from like Museum Collectibles or Museum Replicas or Dark Knight Armory. Your big vendors, surprisingly, we have not seen them donate anything to the games, which is a downer in our eyes. But Kalamazoo, Live Action Products, some of the Epic Armory stuff, I mean, they try, but they're harder because they can't get the product out. So, we're trying to support the people that support us, and that's a big issue. The Woodlands of Esker event, Cove, or Kabove, is saying, asking when the next event is, and at the time of this recording, if the next event is September, the regional event, and this again was recorded in 2013, for those of you who are going to watch this years down the road. We'll continue to grow the regional events, and each region is going to have a major regional event, and then eventually we'll have it where there's going to be a world event. And, that's when we have enough regions to do so. But each region will have their big regional, and a lot of us can go to each other's regional games, but we're still trying to figure out how big can this get, what's the feasibility of people attending the games. I mean, obviously the mega huge event can only be done once a year. It's hard to afford a lot of games, and we're starting to see that now with a lot of the folks we're hosting games every month. We got each of our colonies in our region are doing mini games. So I mean, we got a lot of stuff happening, and player budgets are dwindling. So at the end of the year, everybody's kind of scraping. So from a colony standpoint, that's a very important factor. You know, recognize your player base, and you know, as you're setting up a colony, okay, I want to do traditional immersion. Okay, well, that's great, but those kind of props are either really hard to make or super expensive to buy. Even inland waters, even our group of 50, we don't, you know,
there's no way.
We couldn't do traditional immersion. We're still not to that point yet. We've been doing it for 3 years. And the players have a big say in that. So, you know, start out as just a light immersion, you know, and just grow it, step it up as your players are allowed to. And like I've been saying, you know, sometimes you'll never get away from light immersion. And even us as medium immersion groups, we felt like the Black River Outpost games, that was a light immersion, you know, to try to get more new players in that don't have costumes or whatever. But we'll supply the costumes to them. So, I know what's happening.
I think he's trying to talk.
Oh. Yeah, don't try to talk. I don't know what happened. Did my spotlight go away? Okay, now you're not. Gosh dang it, Cole.
Did I try to talk? I didn't try to talk, did I?
Yeah. We're being recorded right now. Trying. Now we lost the video feed. I don't know. Let's see if that works. Well, now it's all reversed again.
Oh, it's better.
But, you know, there's a lot of dynamics to starting a colony and reaching out to your players and figuring out, okay, how do we want to do this? You know, even if you have a leader who's, you know, leading the colony and the chief is doing it, or, you know, if it's set up as a business and one person's putting in a lot more of the dough than everybody else, that really doesn't, you know, matter in the fact that you still got to ask all your players, like, what they want to do and how do they want to play it. Obviously, have a strong elder team that you want to go over that with. But if you don't have an elder team yet, you know, you're going to approach all your players. But, you know, keep some kind of chain of command so you don't lose control of the group is one thing, too. That's kind of why we set up colonies with protected areas. So that way, if a group goes south, well, the LarpCraft colony that's in is, you know, unless somebody went way off their rocker, then we'll look at that from a corporate level. But you have a protected area so that somebody can't come in and steal all your players and then post another game in the same city. We've seen that break a lot of groups and a lot of different organizations, and that's why we try to keep that colony protected. And it is, you know, it's a business, and it's, you know, whether it's clever business, I mean, you know, it would just, you know, that's detrimental. So, but you can, you know, let's say somebody wants to get out, you can switch the colony chief to somebody else. You know, if somebody wants to buy out the colony or whatever, that's totally, you know, we can do that for sure. But Odin gets up really early. It's getting late. Getting that in time.
Pretty close, yeah.
But thought it was another interesting topic in the 3-day games and the actual realm events now. We set up where you can actually claim land. You can claim the wilderness campgrounds, and there's what, I think 12 or 15 campgrounds.
Something like that.
And each one has its own fire pit and wood, and you know, there's a couple outhouses all over, and you know, we're maintaining all that. We're trimming the trail, we're brushing the trails, we're creating new stuff. We're, you know, coming in as knights in shining armor to the landowner because we're actually maintaining the property. And that has been an expensive journey, both in time and in supplies, but totally worth it when you can do 3-day events. So it's interesting how there's a lot more PvP, player versus player, character-wise, when you can claim land. So you stake your standard. If somebody wants a challenge for that spot, they can do so on the battlefield. and the next game they get it, if they win. So that's putting a big dynamic into it. We're announcing an arena at this next event, so you can actually bet player versus player. You can put stuff in a chest, and whoever wins gets the chest full of stuff. So it's like arena battles where you don't lose life, you just lose respect, or you lose honor, or you lose loot, coin. But then others can bet on you as well in this arena. It's kind of like gladiator fighting, but that way you're not burning through a bunch of life bands. You can just keep fighting. So that's we've added that since we've done a few realm events now. We've been asking questions on what could be needed, and if we need additional NPCs or monsters, we'll pull players. The ones who have agreed to do so, they'll jump from their PC and NPC for a few hours just to throw the dynamic off. Especially if we're in a lull, we'll switch it up real fast. We've had to do that quite a few times, actually, where plot lines don't go the way you want it. Storyline, you write it this way, it's going that way.
It happens.
It's, just you got to be able to adapt. And that's the beauty of live-action roleplay. It really takes on a life of its own. So,
on a little bit of a downer side, we do have to possibly discuss a little bit about the whole dynamic of blowing up out of character in game.
yeah, we had a few of those things happening too, where we had to kind of split down. Players were going out of character and blowing up, whether it be from outside of game stresses or in-game rivalry that bled out of game. We had some of that happening. So we had to kind of identify it, step back, approach the individuals outside of the group so that there's no pressure on them, and say, hey, what's happening? Everybody's here to have fun. They're paying to play. Lots of people will have a lot of time and stuff invested in this, so we don't want it to ruin the game. And if you take them out of the group situation, don't confront somebody in front of a whole group. That'll put them on the defensive instantly, and usually that will not go good at all. So if there is a problem with a few people, nip it in the butt right away. Bring those people aside, and you can usually save the game pretty easily if you can identify it and get it handled. So when you teach elders, those are some things you want to go through from a role-playing aspect. From an elder training aspect is, go through and at one of the crafting or battle practices, put out a scenario and have somebody lose it. Just go off their rocker, lost it. And how would the elders handle that? And we even could use more training for that.
Oh, definitely.
You're never going to have every situation taken care of, but it's going to happen. And the more people you have, the more it could happen, but also the more elders and people that can also self-enforce that. A lot of the players, when that happened, a lot of the players actually self-enforced, saying, hey, get this, why don't you just go ahead and take a breather, go out of character, go into the parking lot, just cool off, and that's what happened. I mean, we had a pretty decent group that was able to self-control them, maintain themselves or recompose themselves, if you will.
I guess it helps that we have enough elders that they realize it's happening. That little bit of a sway, and it was like somebody must have pulled somebody aside. I wasn't around, so.
Yeah, we were deep into our characters and doing other stuff, so. But, huge plot lines and having a lot of stuff to do. It looks like a lot of the colonies are doing that. They're putting together lots of banked quests and things, so if a game runs short on stuff, they can just pull it out of their hat and throw it into a game at any given moment. So I'm proud of you guys, proud of the colonies for being prepared for those types of things, and a lot of you are bringing in a lot of great ideas for additional gaming and we're all kind of using these together and learning and growing together. So that's what this community is about, and it really is working great. We got some interest. We recently got the Iceland group together. They're ready to go. We got the Virginia colony going, the first one there. We got some interest in Washington State. We got the Utah group now. We got, we're getting a lot of requests now. And actually, some of them want to partner. There's a large network in Europe, the TNG, the gaming network, that want to partner with us outside of YouTube for our YouTube channel, to kind of create a partnership where we would earn more money on monetization. And I kind of broke it to them gently, saying, well, a lot of our videos don't have ads on them because we all kind of hate ads. It wasn't, we're not seeing millions and millions of views, so it doesn't even pay to have a lot of ads on those videos. It's just annoying. And for the 5 cents you'll earn a month, why bother? So, we try to keep that stuff minimalized if we can. And that's why too on the scrolls, I could have ads all over the scrolls, but I don't because they're just a pain, and I don't think it looks good. It's not as clean. It screws up a lot of stuff sometimes on phones and other stuff. So, let's see what else. I mean, the whole realm stuff is really, that's a big animal. I mean, we've always said these games eventually will start taking off and creating a life of their own. So we'll have a plot, but there's going to be plots and quests that other characters and and the camps are starting to create that stuff now. And it's like, okay, we're kind of losing control, but we're gaining like so much more content.
We're also gaining the ability to play our own characters.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
Running around, being monsters like all day and
every day, all the time.
Being beat up.
Which is fun, but after a few years of every weekend events, we're not as young as we used to be. But what I really wanted to have people do too is try and post their adventures in the living scrolls of that realm adventure, because like I was saying, there's and it's their character's version of it, so it's kind of like the tell something to somebody who tells it to somebody else and goes around the room. By the time you're done with it, it's a whole different story almost. That's really what we're trying to create from an in-game character role play on the scrolls. And you can use that. It's not metagaming. That is a character's, you go to a game, you're going to a distant land, a realm, or an outpost, and you pull up the history scrolls, and you're reading through the history scrolls of whatever. That's what we're trying to simulate using the forum scrolls in LarpCraft. And you can post your adventures. And I really want to read, there's a lot of things that I heard of that nobody wrote down from the last few games of, very interesting dynamics and things that happened. A lot of that stuff people want to keep secret, but some of this stuff, it's just write it down or, put it in your character journal at least, so you don't forget. And for those of you who don't know, the character journal is your private part of your profile that you can write things down that nobody else can see. So if you have beefs with somebody and you don't remember it, or you want to keep something fresh in your mind for the next game, which may not be for another month or two, that's a good way to use the character journal. We are starting to come up with the rule scroll, the banner. We're trying to come up with the rewards program for the Epic members. Man, we got crap ton of stuff we're working on, and it's almost unbearable to think of all the projects we have going and all the irons that are in the fire. I don't know how we're doing it, but we're doing it. We got a good team, and we all support each other. So when one of us kind of gets down, we just call each other up and be like, "Oh, how can I help?" And contain it.
Oh, I think that's in your bio, the journal.
Yeah, the journal it's a tab in your profile. So if you go to Edit Profile, it'll say Journal, and it's just a text journal that you can put anything in. You can put pictures in there and stuff too. But you have to go to Edit Profile before you see it. It won't show up anywhere on your regular profile. So we'll have to do a video on that too eventually.
I see Ronan's here.
Oh, Ron's in. Nice.
Yes, I am.
Hello. We're just kind of trying to go through all the different things that are happening with the big 3-day events now, and with the regional event coming up, and it's going to be cool. I had a call today from a person in Tennessee who's coming up from Tennessee, and it wasn't part of Eludi. I don't think it was nobody I've ever heard of before, and just getting the details and the tent stuff, and before they make the 700-mile trip, what is it that they're going to do? So it was really cool. It was a great phone call this morning. The pre-registration is kind of screwy. It's kind of confusing because there's so many options. I'll try to clean that up. And we'll learn, every time we do a regional or playing with the different formats of all the different options for how to pre-register for stuff. We're just trying to work it all out. So it'll get smoother every time.
Is that me?
I don't know, I can hear you. Everybody else is muted.
Sorry, I found a seeing stone, and it may be getting some interference from the mage that I just killed.
Oh, very well, very well. So we're going to try to do more of these elder chats in character if we can. From a video standpoint, it makes more sense to do these types of videos in character with backgrounds and that kind of thing. So really awesome if we can get more of the elders, and eventually when we have enough people to do it, we could actually do full-on role plays through the portals. Open up your seeing stone and communicate with the others, and might be fun. Might be a horrible failure too, but we tried it at least. That's what we do here at LarpCraft. We try stuff.
I fail miserably.
But like the rained out thing, we did a rained out campaign. Basically now elders or colonies, did you see that? Rained out?
Oh yeah. You can
so basically,
text message go out or something?
Yeah, so like a chief can have, through the LarpCraft account, can have control of their colony in rained out, and they can send out a mass text message or email. So if like an event changes location, or you want to release some lore, or you want to, it's rained out or something, it's a instant broadcast to everybody, and it's free for everybody. There's 25 characters worth of ads at the bottom of whatever it is, but if we would get a sponsor, we could have that there, and then it could pay for it, and then we can share those revenues with all the colonies through that program. So basically, a mass messaging system like that is usually expensive, or it costs 5 cents per whatever, and it ends up costing a lot. Rained Out works a little differently where they use a sponsorship, and so hopefully we can keep that up. And there's a scroll on that. Really excited to see that. Separate signed up his group. We got our group. There's only like 5 or 6 in it right now, but we just released it. So we could do one for just the elders. Say, hey, guess what? We're doing an elder chat. Get on here. But yeah, I think we can probably just open it up now to everybody and see what the concerns are with everybody else. And I apologize, my hellhounds are outside and keeping us safe from the orcs that seemingly are surrounding this camp most of the time. But yeah, let's go ahead and open it up to everybody. And if you wanna talk, unmute yourself. Yeah, I gotta switch that this week. And then when you're not talking, see, there it is again. It mirrors itself on some things, and some things it doesn't. So now, if you talk, you're going to have control of the screen. So if it goes black, that's why. But if you want to say something, just unmute yourself and go. Somebody's unmuted. I hear some unmuted.
Yeah.
Are there any questions that elders want to ask? Or comments about your games, or
The biggest request I have for you guys is regarding location. Basically, more inclined to location like Esker, where it's more of a private property as opposed to the public parks I'm using now.
What was the question?
How to find that sweet spot.
Oh. We've been searching for almost 4 years.
It was probably closer to 5, really, but
Yeah. We just stayed in parks and backyards until we found a place where we could do what we can do. And it's still not ideal because we can't do permanent structures. But we can do multi-day games, which is a blessing.
I would suggest looking for places that the Boy Scouts go to. A lot of times they're only there 1 weekend a year, or 2 weekends out of the year, and the rest of the time the whole place is not used.
Yeah, Boy
That's
Scout
actually what we have. That's what Esker is.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That's a way to try to do it. So try to find
out where the Boy Scouts are going for their overnight camps, because that's probably where you're going to want to go.
or at least inquire. And I inquired to about a few of them here, and some of them are more busy than others, but all of them, none of them turned me away. They all said I could rent the facility, or they would work with us, because they're always looking for more people to bring into camps as well.
I also have an idea on that.
Yeah.
You might also want to check into places that hold airsoft matches and paintball matches. Although they might not be ideal, you may be able to rent those places for maybe possibly overnight games and things along those lines.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Odin and I went to a game at Apocalypse Paintball, and they have like a mini castle and stuff. Looks pretty cool. I think the only real downside of it is there's paint on everything and airsoft BBs everywhere. So from the medieval side, that's kind of not real awesome, but for the other side, I don't know. It just depends. I mean, I guess it was still okay.
As long as you didn't lean up against anything.
Yeah, you leaned up against something and you were just covered in like month-old, residual paint. But yeah, I mean, they got great sets and stuff too. They might be willing to work out on that.
So the park I'm using now, it's not that bad. The only thing I don't like is we've only got maybe 100 yards between the river and the more modern side of the park. There's quite a bit of heavily wooded trails, a few open areas. I mean, all in all, it's a pretty nice location. It's just pretty much a straight line from one end to the other.
Yeah. No, just work with what you got and keep scouting. I mean, Severus, you're in the haunted house capital of the world. I would think that after Halloween, you maybe do approach some of these landowners that have these huge areas and see if there's some possibility to work together on some of this stuff. You know?
Yeah. I've thought about that. I remember telling you about a cave system that's used for haunted houses that I'd like to try and host some events there.
Yeah, see what you can come up with. That might be a good way to do it. The other thing is like Wisconsin, we have the Wisconsin Historical Society owns 7 properties, and they have like the old Wade House where the Gandelahar is, and those properties were more colonial and Victorian, mostly colonial though. So depending on what type of game, I mean, like for a Wild West LARP, that'd be great. Steampunk LARP, that'd be great. I mean, medieval, it would still work, but those properties also, you can rent them out. So I'm just trying to think of any other, like I would scour Google Maps and Google Earth and just keep flying over areas of Google Earth and be like, oh, there's a cool section of woods, you know. It was to the point where I was almost like, well, I'm going to go and pay for the plat map and see who owns it, get a hold of the landowner. I mean, it would work. What saved us on a lot of occasions is having the insurance. That's almost the first question that comes out of people's mouths when I approach a landowner is, you know, do you have insurance for this? And I show them our, you know, $1 million, $5 million policy, and, you know, it covers all role play exposures, and boom, you know, there it is. So getting added on those policies through LarpCraft and stuff, you got a pretty decent group, but those are things when you start getting to private landowners, you know, don't bring it up unless they bring it up. We got a really awesome waiver. We got legal shield options. We got the insurance stuff. So, I mean, there's ways to handle anything that they would throw at you. And that's kind of our mission with LarpCraft, is to try to make sure you have the right tools available to you. Whether you take them or not is up to you. That's your colony's decision. But we try to make as many things available as possible, with the help of other elders. That is a mighty fine breastplate.
It is.
I don't know if that's going to record that way, but
It's about all we've been seeing as of.
it looks like the ring. You know, we got the iron ring there. Zephyrus is like in the iron ring, and he doesn't even know it. But he can't be, because his character's an orc. And
We don't like orcs.
No, we don't.
this guy really hates orcs.
So does Ronan.
Oh,
Killed his
I
fan.
do.
yeah, I guess that would do it. But that's all in the lore. You can even read that, so we're not releasing anything that's not already on public knowledge.
Well, we're just a chatty bunch, aren't we?
I don't know what it's going to record. I have no idea. This is the first time we're using this to record an actual session, so the Zoom software seems to work better. It's better than GoToMeeting. We learned that. Better than Skype. We learned that. Works better on Mac than TeamSpeak and that kind of stuff. The video settings are great. You can have 25 people on the screen at the same time, which I'm excited to see how that looks.
Excited and scared.
Yeah, I don't know how much bandwidth that's going to take, but seems to work good. And I like the fact that you can call in, you know, from a phone and listen in or whatever. So, and we're recording it, so we'll see if this is a flying success or an epic failure. We've done that before. Going an hour and a half through a session and it didn't record.
More than once.
More than once.
I think that was 2 or 3 times in the same night.
Yeah. The session kept getting shorter and shorter every time.
Yeah.
By the last time, it was only pertinent information.
But yeah, if you have any questions on anything, you know, always ask everybody in the scrolls, whether it's players or elders. You know, these elder meetings are going to be available to the public as well. so people can understand how our group kind of works and how we work as a group and as a community to build better games together. So far, it's been working pretty good, and we're getting a lot more interest now. LarpCraft just had its first 7,000 page view day by itself, just in the scrolls. That's not including all the other stuff. That was just in the medieval scrolls. Google Analytics peaked pretty high this last week. So we've been doing a lot more social media sharing. I've been using Hootsuite to schedule my posts on Twitter and other social media. So I set it all up in one day, and then it'll post for like a week or two at a time. Yep. But anybody else have anything that you want to talk about at this session? Here's going back. Shave my head for a LARP character.
Costuming.
Costuming. Yeah, costuming. What about it?
Why you shave your head?
Oh yeah, costuming.
No, level of costuming that may be required at some events.
What do you say?
Ooh.
Lauren said
he's asking about.
Hard to hear here.
The level of costuming at some events may be different than others.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to also, for like inland waters, to have a couple totes of costumes for people to use if they come in or rip their pants out or something and they need a change or something. We mostly have sewing kits now too. Most of us can mend in-game, mostly in character. But yes, good point, Ronnie.
Maybe we should add the tailoring profession.
What's that?
Maybe we should add a tailoring profession.
Yeah, we had talked about that. I think when we first were going through all the skills and professions.
Yeah, there were a lot that we had talked about, but I think it was time constraints because we wanted to get it ready for the 2013 system, or season, rather.
Yeah, we can roll a new profession out a year or something. Or it has to be really good. Again, we want to try to keep the book not from becoming a 300-page manual that you'll never get through. So.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to bring up, even though you may not be able to have permanent structures at a thing, your prop level, even if you can put it up and take it down, should be, fairly high as well.
That is a great topic that you just brought up there, Ronan. That's actually the focus right now. Bray and I have noticed that attendance has been really low for our last few games. So instead of actually trying to really push a full-day event, as our tenant had said earlier, with having a low player base and only 2 elders, kind of setting ourselves up for a disaster anyway. But so we've really put our focus on group props, such as, like you said, village structures. I've got plans for 4 or 5 different styles of tents that we're going to try and build this weekend. So I don't know how far we'll get, but we're going to start. So
Sweet. Are you broadcasting off of your S4?
Yeah.
Looks good. Just got the S4.
Not really. It would have looked a lot better. I got my mask in today, but unfortunately it apparently skipped past quality control. It's got a lot of flashing around the eyes that I've got to trim up.
Oh.
Maybe that was quality control.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I was saying with the props, you can make simple little tents, even those videos that you put up, even for like bandit camps or even for yourself. The modern tents just aren't cutting it. We need something that's more immersive. When you walk into a village or you walk into a bandit camp, you basically want to in your mind go, yeah, this is the real deal. You don't want to have to, okay, yeah, my imagination only goes so far kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I
I
think.
don't know if those chat boxes are popping up on screen for the recording, so.
Yeah. Oops. Playing. Like Roden said, we're getting to that tipping point of immersion where we want to, have the 50-pound bows and have the canvas structures and, the teepee. But, and you can't cover them, and painting them is, I don't know, you can definitely you just don't feel immersive enough. They're great, and they've helped out a lot. I mean, people rent them. I mean, if you did it right, you could have them paid off, just by people renting them. But they also take a bunch of wear and tear and take a bunch of time to set up and tear down. And because every time I schedule an event, it rains, they always get put away wet. Then I got to take them all out and set the whole village up in my side lot. And
I got mine in my basement. I should probably take that down.
Yeah, it's probably dry out.
That's another thing I'd like to bring up. People skipping out on teardown or setup. I know it's not required, but it really helps out the people that are doing the event when you stick around. And there's incentives. There's bonus XP. There's bonus coin. There's all this stuff. But a lot of people just like, oh well, game's over. I'm leaving, and that leaves like one or two people, pardon my French, but screwed right at the end.
Yeah. If everybody kind of cleaned up together, we've had that at a lot of games where everybody did help clean up, and we were done in like 15 minutes because everybody cleaned up. And then there's times where everybody peeled out, and there's just a few of us left, and it takes us hours because everybody peeled out. So I think, for our games, we gotta stress it more and keep those incentives in front of everybody's face that, look, you can really get a lot more XP if you help set up and tear down and that kind of stuff. And the coins, I mean, there's really no limit as to how much coin you can give. And as we learned from these last games, coin in a realm with with professions in it, cool. I mean,
I didn't make a lot of coin.
But you traded a lot of coin.
Yeah, I was buying a lot of regents and
stuff to make your awesome apothecary potions, and he got his own brew stand, and we should have took more pictures of that. We didn't do it.
I don't think anybody took pictures.
No. You didn't allow too many people in that tent because it's a fragile area. But it's cool because you got it's brewing, and it's pretty cool. So really immersive piece of equipment. But again, everybody's kind of yellow banded. They can't fight in that area because you knock that thing over, and it's a risky piece of equipment. So Odin was real careful not to let anybody real close to it for not only the sake of the equipment but also their safety. So that's an elder thing to watch for.
I've got a question. It's not really pertinent to elders, I guess, but what's the temperature like at the end of September in Wisconsin for those of us planning to make the journey to Esker?
What time of day are you looking for?
Oh, dude, I'm showing up Thursday night, and I'll be there until you guys last bit's loaded on the truck Sunday.
No, what time of day are you looking for? Not the weekend.
Yeah, I get you. It's the same way here in Missouri, man. It'll snow in the morning and be 100 in the afternoon. I get you.
Well, I'm going to guess probably 40s at night, and you can probably get to like 75, 80 during the day, even at the end of September.
Well, when I make my personal tent, I was just wondering how thick I should make the canvas, if I should line it, or, if I'll be all right with that in a blanket.
Layers.
Well, yeah.
Layers.
Get yourself a good sleeping bag. I slept through that whole October fiasco that we had last year when it was like 30 degrees almost the whole
29.
day.
29 with
29 at night.
with
And it was like 35,
15 to 30 mile an hour winds.
Good sleeping bag with that over your head, you're good.
Without it, like me, and like some of the others, it was like, why did I do this?
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for it to be a little bit on the cooler side anyway, because this kit is pretty layered. Yeah. Learn it. Gotta love it.
You'll probably be hot, and you'll probably be cold.
At the
Let's
same
count at
time.
the end of December. So,
I'll feel right at home then.
yeah.
I have something else I'd like to bring up. If you're hosting multiple day events, then when you have check-in, there should be a specific time when check-in is open, so you don't have people running back and forth all the time for bringing people in, checking people, stuff like that.
Yeah, that breaks so many games. And as LARPers, we are all freaking late. Why is that?
Who's late?
Everybody's late all the time. Almost always.
I'm not late.
Because everybody gets dressed at the last minute.
Well, I mean, there's a ton of stuff. From the promoter standpoint, there's always things that we forget, and I'm a worrywart, and I get all stressed out. But a lot of the players, okay, registration ends at 11. They come at 11:30. Registration's closed, but do you want to turn them away because you need them in the game? It seems to be a common complaint. Every game I've gone to, outside of our system, inside of our system, it seems like always somebody's registering late. I really, really want to figure out and fine-tune and perfect the complete pre-registration. If you can do it if you can register for an event completely before an event, that would be ideal. Like the only thing you have to do is probably weapons check. Because that you got to be physical for. But I've dreamed about hosting games where you just pre-register and you come and you're in the game. Like there is no sign-in. It's like
You should do a late charge.
late charge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that would go over well.
Well, then maybe they'll start being more punctual.
That does work. I mean, if you have something,
or you just tell them that registration is actually done at 10, so that by the time they show up, they're actually registered, and you really want the registration to end at 11.
that'll work for a while until they figure it out.
They know already that you're going to leave registration open all day anyway. So
Yeah, that sucks burning somebody and having them at registration the whole time. But we'll keep working on that pre-registration, complete pre-registration. And then just have somebody check weapons or something.
Is that an option that other colonies can do?
I don't know.
Because I know that with you being the one that's running live action products, you've kind of got a one-up on that. You can just set it up for your events. But say I wanted to set up a pre-event or pre-registration for an event myself.
Yeah, but you still have a PayPal account. You can do it through PayPal. You can have them pay on PayPal. You can set up the payment button. I don't think you need to be a merchant to do any of that.
No, I think
No, I've got a Premier account anyway, so I'm a merchant as it is.
Right. But I think you can do it even with the free account. Maybe. We looked at offering pre-registrations to other colonies. I'm just trying to figure out what the fee needs to be to cover the cost of everything. And
Right.
Okay, taxes, now how does the tax work? Because we're physically on location in Missouri and Wisconsin, so do we charge?
you have to charge double tax.
It's like, that's the part that I can't figure out, and my bean counter is like, why would you do that? You might be able to find a service to do that, like Ticketmaster. Like, there's a lot of Ticketmaster-like things. You know, that one that I have on the Woodlands for the medieval training. That what is that called? Eventbrite, Eventbrite.com. I use that to check to try that. And if it's free, it doesn't cost you anything. But you can actually charge, and they'll send you the money through Eventbrite.com. So you set up the pre-registration. It'll print out the tickets. It'll do the stuff. So check out Eventbrite or the other ones and see, because pre-registration is hugely helpful. And if you end it 6 days beforehand, you can have all your food paid for. You can know who's going to be there. And you can way better prepare for stuff. And then, at ground zero, half the people are already pre-registered, so the game and registration moves along.
And you're printing off the stuff is a heck of a lot nicer, too.
Yeah, I did that with the pre-registration. Now, anytime somebody comes to an Inland Waters game and they pre-register, I print off their bio the Friday before the event, the achievements page, and their receipt. So it's at will call, basically. So they don't have to print anything. The last event, I think 16 people pre-registered, which is a big number for pre-registers.
And it moved through pretty fast.
Yeah, it did move them through until we got to the safety check. That took forever because we had a lot of new players. And a lot of them weren't new. We just didn't know them because they were from different colonies. So we took our sweet time. We were trying that new format, and I posted it in the Elder Scrolls of that format you can use. I know Eek was looking at it and was going to use it and such. Eventually, once that's totally fine-tuned, we want to make a DVD and put it on YouTube and such, and then have a quiz afterwards. So that way, before an event, you could show this to your pre-registrants, to the people, and, have the pre-meeting done before the game. So, again, now you just saved another hour. So I think that'll help colonies. And if somebody comes in and they haven't seen it, you got the DVD, have one of those pocket players, or maybe pull it up on your phone if you have bandwidth, or pin it to your phone. I don't know. There's a bunch of ways to do it. That way, okay, take 20 minutes and go watch that video and then come back and we'll go through it. So those are some ideas that we had to keep getting moving.
How much trouble would we get in for having actual stock?
Stock?
Not the investment kind, the kind that I stick Ronan in because he just, yeah.
Oh, stocks? Yeah, it just has to be safe so you don't break anybody's ankles or wrists or neck. I personally want to build the foot stocks because they can actually sit. But, I don't know. It's a role play.
I just thought it would be humorous, especially as we're moving towards these regional events and these multi-day events. It's somebody's going to upset somebody else, and why not throw them in the stock?
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah, we should probably make a few sets of something or chain them together. We got the nice handcuffs. And we got you can tie them up. We've done that.
Not the fuzzy one, Lieutenant.
Stocks would be probably pretty neat.
Careful now, orcs might decide you guys are running slave camps and.
Hey.
It is what it is.
They're all enough loose, man.
No, a few red orcs would object.
We did do something a little risky. The last game, we actually had some flares and smoke that we used. Elders, regular gamers couldn't use it, but we had some flash strobe fireworks that we got approved to use before we used them, obviously, and it was wet, really wet, so there was no danger of fire. But there's nothing in the rules that actually say anything about fireworks. It's a gray area. Obviously, it's a big risk. It's a concern.
Can't use it as fireball.
Can't use it as fireball. Shouldn't shoot Roman camels at each other.
Bottle rocket.
But when we would lit those flares on the ground next to other people's tents, and we had a big group of it was like an angry mob, and we were waking people up and blowing horns, and it got the role play really kick-started.
I know one orc that'll be looking for the Iron Man next time.
Yeah. They'll find you otherwise. Just listen. we woke the camp back up, and I mean, it was
close to midnight.
It was like midnight, 1 o'clock, and then we got them back up. So, pretty cool. Neat little thing there, but we were play testing it. It was gutsy. But nobody got hurt and everybody had fun, so we kept it pretty safe.
Awesome.
Yeah, so.
So I got a question. Transport of props to and from the games. If, say I can build the props and I have some, I just can't get them there.
Okay.
I mean, what do you suggest? Is it like rent a U-Haul for $10 or something off the wall and just get them there that way?
Yeah, actually, those small U-Haul trailers, the really small ones, are like 8x8s. I think they're really pretty cheap. I think like $15 a day or something. It's not bad.
You can get a 20-foot truck, I think, for $19.95.
Yeah, get some Penske trucks. Got all the colonies bringing in their cargo vans with the stuff. The big region. That'd be pretty sweet.
I might have to go through that until I.
Yeah, we got one CDL driver here, so we get to the big tractor trailer stuff. There'll be at least one person. In my state. So. What'd you say?
Said I have a CDL for California, but not for Texas or Wisconsin. So
doesn't matter.
If you have your CDL for your state, you're okay to drive.
Nice. Well, I moved to Texas, so I actually need to get it for here or just renew it or whatever they require of me. So yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. That's another thing we learned from, starting to get, we got the 24-foot race trailer, and gosh, if I could just open the door and show you the inside of that right now, it is like a disaster area. There are props everywhere, and when people okay, let's clean up, throw it in there, it's like, I've stopped trying to get people to try to organize it before just throw it all in there. I'll have to reorganize it anyway for the next event. Just get it in there and we can get home. But yeah, I did want to bring up we do have some new coin designs coming out. Trying to take what we got feedback from the primitive coins. We're going to discontinue those, and we're going to. Players wanted to have the ability, so it was like raised, not like a pirate coin or like a medieval coin, but more like where you could feel it in your pocket and know the shape that, that's a 5 silver, or that's a 25 copper. And based on what Cephas was saying, you got some of the samples and what we need to do. We're coming up with a 12-set piece now, so there's a 25-cent piece for each denomination, which will help out a lot too. Did you guys see the gold bars? I don't know that I've ever.
No, you haven't posted those yet.
Show. Where did I put that? Right. So this is the prototype so far. You can't see it very well. You can see.
How are we supposed to carry that?
This is going to be foam. So this is.
How are you supposed to carry that in your money pouch?
You don't. You put it in a chest. Gold bar. But it's a throwable item. It's 12 inches, so you can actually beam somebody up with the head on this.
death by gold brick.
Could you imagine finding a chest full of these? So,
Well, what I spend it on, I just like combat.
we still haven't really figured out, like, okay, you got gold bars now. You know, you got 100 gold. You're going to go to a gold bar. You know, what are you going to use gold bars for?
Immortality.
Think of it as like, you know, controlling armies, controlling, you know, like you can have an entire city helping you out because, you know, for this game you'll get 3 gold bars. You know, cities can then build wealth. I don't know, a pretty big denomination. So
Buy a weapon or armor.
buy weapon or armor, yeah. You know, you would literally like to buy armies for, I don't know, before you can claim a kingdom. I don't know. I mean, that's going to be colony specific, I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have some growth for that. I think the gold bars are ahead of their time still.
Yeah, that's why they're not molded yet.
Yeah.
I think we're going to wait and see if that's going to change yet, too. But, you know, you bring out a gold bar, I mean,
Now we're talking business.
business. And we could throw a diamond in there, too, you know. That'd be easier to carry, but what would a diamond be worth, you know? Like 3 gold bars or something? You know, there's got to be some common exchange rate that the book will have. And then each colony will...
Keep it on the 100 system. A diamond is worth 100 gold bars.
Could you imagine having 100 gold bars?
No.
Like 100 diamonds? If 100 gold bars is equal to 1 diamond?
How would you get 100 diamonds?
You'd have to vanquish the undead entirely.
An entire colony?
Single-handedly destroy a colony. Rob every resident.
Taxation.
Boy, you must have a lot of players.
Be playing for 20 years.
Be playing for 20 years? Cold said, yeah. So yeah, there's a, I mean, I don't know what, it'll be cool though. Somehow, we'll figure something out. Again, the community's still deciding on that. That's kind of like the titles too. Titles are like, oh, we gotta have titles. All right, what's the common title? There's like 1,000 of them. So, you know, between the tribes and all the other stuff, it's like, you know, it's going to be a little
That might be a little easier to do with the titles. I mean, a tribe can proclaim a chief, and a village can proclaim like a mayor or a protector or something, and then eventually you may be able to go, if you have, let's say, the money, and we can bring that into it. If you have enough money, you could technically buy your way into a kingdom and become like the king or something.
Yeah, that's kind of how I originally thought of using gold bars. Is, you know, you couldn't claim a kingdom unless you had a certain amount of wealth or a certain amount of people, or, you know, characters.
But the downside of that is then you start to build a nobility class, and other people are going to want to do it, and you're like, well, you have to do this, and then they may try to keep other people down. But that's where the factions and stuff come in.
Yeah. Why don't you show those babies off a little bit here? We got some Sons of Sandler boots. Odin finally
I upgraded.
Finally upgraded to the real boots.
Oh, God.
And you
Nice.
get them too.
That's legit, Odin. That's legit.
Yeah.
And how much did you pay for those?
For 3
What?
years. Huh?
And how much were those? Because I know Keldor's were
Not that much. Like half of what he paid.
So 250?
It's like 280.
274
274.
with tax. And they're cheaper actually at the fair than on their website.
That's surprising.
Because I went on the website just to screw around and they were like $300.
All right, how many banks do I need to knock off to get a pair of those?
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm thinking at least 4 convenience stores.
No, you just need to go find one big trucker stop. That'll get you done.
Trucker style.
Hey, where's Ronan? He's in jail. That whole scheme he got, that didn't work out so well for him.
They didn't have any gold coins.
He's missing a leg. He got shot. Woo!
Now he does Whirlwind really well.
Well, if we don't have anything else, we'll just try to record this and see how it worked, and I'll put it on YouTube. And you know, we would like to do more of these if we can. You know, both players and elders together. Maybe we can do one and go through each chapter of the rule book, like all the videos we were going to make for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With examples.
Yeah.
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 I've been wanting to do some tutorial videos on weapons and shield making on the cheap, but I just haven't had time to work and 6 hours a day. So hopefully I can get those made too. That's a this weekend kind of project.
And you can use this Zoom program too. It's really awesome because you can collaborate, and even the free version of Zoom, you can record and collaborate. So your meetings are limited to what? 40 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. So it's not terrible. But, okay. That's all we have for the meeting this evening. My name's Artenon. I'm Odin. We'll see you out in the realms.